Awesome. Thank you so much for the intro, Emily. And thank you everyone for being here on a Friday afternoon. Super excited to be with you and just share more about the value of LinkedIn and LinkedIn Learning, some best practices, tips and tricks, etc. So thank you again to the Career Services and Experiential Learning team for having us contribute to your amazing career week. But in specific, we will discuss how LinkedIn Learning can really help you stand out, develop your skill sets, and prepare you for your career. Skills are changing by an estimated 25% over the next 5 years in any given job. So it's really important to think through those skills and what's available to you to continue to develop them, in addition to the amazing degrees that you are working towards at HU. So as Emily mentioned, you have some amazing tools at your disposal for free with your HU EDU email address. So be sure to avail of them. And of course, we'll walk through, again, some more information about these resources and tools and how to optimize them so you can really just get recognized for the great work that you are doing already. We will have time at the end. I'll pop up here a quick agenda. We'll have time at the end for a Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, I can't see the chat, but I think Emily and Rebecca will be able to field some questions if you have anything that comes through. But we will have time at the end if you want to hold tight on your questions and just bring them forward at the end. But as a quick high-level agenda, what we'll walk through today, we'll cover the basics of LinkedIn and LinkedIn Learning, cover the tools that you have available to you for free, again, with your HU email, discuss a great LinkedIn profile with actually a Harrisburg University student highlight, discuss what recruiters are doing to search for qualified candidates so you can really meet them where they're at on the platform, and then just show you some strategies on how to display your skill sets, your experiences, and some overall best practices with LinkedIn Learning, just so you can take advantage of the various opportunities available to you. I would love if you're able to pop in the chat, and then maybe Emily or Rebecca, not to put you on the spot, if you want to come off mute and just share maybe what some individuals are sharing here, but would love to just learn what's your major, what's your academic career focus, and what would be helpful to learn today, just so I can tailor today's session to that. Regarding LinkedIn or LinkedIn Learning, would love to just get some engagement in the comments so we can make this helpful for you.
Jenny, we have an information systems and technology program major. We have esports, we have our management and e-business, focus on digital health, computer science, we have forensic science and criminal investigation.
So we've got an amazing mix.
Yes, yeah.
I love it.
Good bit of project management.
Absolutely.
Environmental science.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Anyone have the second part of the question? So you're all sharing what your major is, which is great, but what about what you'd like to learn today?
Awesome representation from the different disciplines and focuses.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, great. Winnie shared, so biotechnology major with pharmaceutical design wants to learn how to tailor profile to look good for graduate or potential PhD programs. And learn how someone else would like to learn how to use LinkedIn to network and find employers.
Absolutely.
How to optimize my LinkedIn profile and fully utilize other LinkedIn resources. Oh. Additional information about LinkedIn and its learning app that I didn't know before.
Totally.
Oh, this one's interesting. What do recruiters see when searching LinkedIn? Do keywords play a large world similar to resumes? We talked about that in a previous career week event, how to optimize those keywords on your resume. So that's a great follow-up there.
Awesome. Definitely have a bit of insight in that regard on how recruiters will use LinkedIn to search for you. So we can totally dive into that aspect This is all great topics. I'm so glad.
Yeah, I think this last one will also be covered, so I'm excited to share it. So wants to learn a little bit more about programming, not much of a
Yep.
skilled code writer themselves, but pursuing a career that's going to involve a lot more coding. So looking to upskill in that regard.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Super helpful. And we will definitely, I think we have a nice coverage in terms of all of those topics. So we'll dive into those. But of course, if you have any further questions towards the end, we can follow up around that. But here we go. So I figured it'd be helpful just to orient us in these two platforms. I know you all probably are a bit familiar with LinkedIn, but as well as LinkedIn Learning through your experience in some of your seminar classes. So we'll just kind of breeze through this, but it's always helpful just to kind of distinguish the two and the value of being on these platforms and leveraging them. So again, this is just a bit about our vision as a company. So LinkedIn, for the last 15 years, our vision really hasn't changed. It's to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. And we're doing this every day. Every minute, 8 people are hired on LinkedIn. And every week, nearly 1 million learners come to our platform to learn a skill. So that just gives you a bit of an idea of kind of the size and magnitude of this professional network on LinkedIn. And I think this next slide is really insightful in terms of illustrating, again, kind of the ecosystem of LinkedIn and how that feeds into LinkedIn Learning specifically. So this visual representation is showing you the community that our members have created. It's essentially a digital map of the real life global workforce. We call this the economic graph. It consists of the data of the connections that exist between our members. So if you have a LinkedIn profile, you are a LinkedIn member, the companies on LinkedIn, open jobs, the skills that we know are associated with those jobs and members' profiles, and as well as schools that are on the platform as well. So this is a very big, very real map of the working world, essentially. It's always growing, always changing. It's constantly up to date. And what I think is the most helpful to kind of remind yourself is this is what guides our LinkedIn Learning content roadmap. So our course recommendations and all of the talent insights that we source into LinkedIn Learning, which again, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that. That's all coming from the LinkedIn.com platform. So basically that shows you that you can trust the platform knowing that these are in-demand skills in today's workforce based off of LinkedIn.com. But again, our LinkedIn Learning skills and insights are curated off of this economic graph, so you can really just stay on top of the most in-demand content and have faith that it is the most relevant. So the secret sauce is really these two platforms coming together. As Emily mentioned at the top of the call, you have free access to LinkedIn Learning. So there's LinkedIn.com, which is having a LinkedIn profile. We'll kind of walk through some tips and tricks, what is helpful to have on your profile, but a separate but a very powerful additional resource is LinkedIn Learning. And I'll show you some ways to kind of fine tune it so you can have the platform understand what you're interested in, what skills you want to build, maybe the jobs that you're interested in, etc. So it can feed you the right content recommendations based off of your interests. So again, LinkedIn Learning is an intelligent skill building platform that draws on the data and insights from the world's largest professional network, which is LinkedIn.com, and ultimately will deliver you personalized content, community-based learning, and skill development insights. So it can really just empower you to develop your career in ways that are meaningful to you. We have actually over 23,000 courses on the platform, and these are all very reliable content areas that are instructed by subject matter experts. We'll cover that here shortly as well, but they follow into the buckets of business, technology, and creative categories. Awesome. And again, the credibility of LinkedIn Learning is we have a very rigorous acceptance process and interview process for the instructors that are on the platform, but they're essentially subject matter experts from LinkedIn.com in their respective fields of work, and they become our instructors. So you know you're getting credible and trustworthy information that has actually been applied in today's workforce. That's usually the point that I think is really helpful to remember. So we also have Hollywood level production studios where the content is filmed and produced. So just know that it is an engaging learning experience for you. And again, just kind of thinking of these two separate platforms, they're separate, but the beauty is when they come together, as Emily mentioned, connecting your LinkedIn profile to your LinkedIn Learning institutional license from HU is really that sweet spot. But I like to kind of think of them as a navigation app, just helping you find your way from point A to point B, showing you the different paths available, ways to connections, jobs, learning skills, etc. And it honestly can help you reroute too. If you figure out you want to go in a different direction with your career or want to focus on a different aspect of skill building, that's kind of how you can think through these two platforms. So it really is just working for you to develop your career. So that's how I like to think it through in terms of the two platforms here. And again, this always gave me some comfort, just knowing all career paths are different. So again, you can get a lot of ideas from LinkedIn.com and LinkedIn Learning on maybe where you can go in terms of skill building and the different roles and jobs that are in demand. So just know that everybody's career paths are unique and different, and that is absolutely okay. This is a nice illustration over an overview of the LinkedIn journey, as we say, when you are a student. So what will, again, root us in today is creating that profile if you don't have one already, or if you're just looking to revamp yours and refresh it based on some of the courses you've recently taken or some things you've learned from a recent internship. But as well as having the access to LinkedIn Learning, availing of that. And from there, building your professional brand and portfolio, getting more comfortable with networking, building out your professional network and connections, discovering career opportunities that are out there in today's workforce, and ultimately the goal of landing either your first job or going back into the workforce after potentially getting another degree or something to that extent. That's really the goal here. So this is a nice overview of how you can think through the process. This is an additional toolkit. You will have access to this. I'll share today's presentation after we're finished up here. But this is just some additional quick one-sheeters, tips and tricks. If you're looking to get some more information on how to revamp your profile, some additional content ideas with LinkedIn Learning. So there's a bunch of things linked out, but it's really geared towards you as a student. So you'll have access to that following today's session if you want to reference anything else. Awesome. So before we dive into how recruiters and employers use LinkedIn and then the connection to LinkedIn Learning and how that really helps you, again, I want to ground us in the foundations of a good LinkedIn profile. Just want to make sure you're comfortable on the fundamentals. And we'll high level cover this, but you'll have, again, some on-demand resources that you can access it should you want to go back and revamp your profile. We'll point you in the right direction of where you can go for that. So again, first things first, you can set up your account if you haven't made one already. You can do this via desktop. You can actually do it from the mobile app if you have Google Play Store or Apple App Store, etc. So just making sure that you have that LinkedIn.com profile for yourself is getting started here. This is just a note from experience. When you're creating your LinkedIn profile, I'd recommend you're actually able to put in 2 email addresses. So make sure that you have a personal email address associated with your personal LinkedIn profile as well. Just in case, I've seen it where students have ended up once they lose access, they graduate. That's amazing. They don't have their HU email address anymore. Just making sure that you have both added there is a best practice, just so you don't ever get accidentally locked out in the future. So this is just a resource if you want to go back here to add the additional email address. That is something that I would recommend for future purposes. And again, this is kind of the connection to LinkedIn Learning, logging into LinkedIn Learning, knowing that you can connect the two, as Emily mentioned. The sweet spot is you're able to pull what you're learning from LinkedIn Learning onto your personal LinkedIn profile. Don't worry, we'll dive into that more and kind of the benefits there, but this is just a reminder. And then again, some of the benefits of LinkedIn Learning, which we'll jump into in further detail, but really this platform is to help you add the skills that you're building to your digital portfolio, which is linkedin.com. I mentioned earlier that you will have some access to on-demand resources. Obviously, your team within the Office of Career Services, I'm sure, more than happy to help support some of these aspects. But if you want a on-demand resource, this Rock Your Profile LinkedIn Learning course is a great way just to stop and go as you're kind of refreshing your profile. And the instructor, Lauren, she's awesome. She covers all of the different aspects within a LinkedIn profile. We're always adding kind of new areas and features that you can contribute to. You don't have to if you don't want to. We'll cover the core recommendations, but just again, know that you can access this resource when it makes sense. And again, this is an additional resource, Learning LinkedIn for Students. This has some great best practices. Really what we're going to cover today is quite similar, but again, this is just an on-demand resource on LinkedIn Learning. Awesome. So the foundation of a great profile starts off with a great photo. So some of the key components, as you may know, is having that profile. The reason why is members with profile photos receive up to 21 more times views on their profile and 9 times more connection requests. So in addition to some of the tips that are listed in the slide, this is just some best practices that I've come up with for taking a great photo. Find your light. Good lighting can be really helpful. There are also filters available when you take the picture on LinkedIn, so you can polish up your picture if necessary. Definitely use a solo photo of yourself just to zero in on who you are as an individual. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't necessarily even have to be a professional headshot if you don't have that quite yet. I know plenty of people who take selfies that are in good lighting and good quality, so they use that as their profile picture. But just in general, make sure that it's a good representation of you. That's the core here. If you're feeling like you want to kind of step out and have an additional aspect to differentiate yourself, you could add a profile video, which just really enhances your personal brand. There's no right or wrong here with this. Just on top of your personal LinkedIn, or excuse me, your profile picture, you could add a video, just giving a quick elevator pitch about you and what you're all about. In addition to your photo, one of your most important sections of your LinkedIn profile is your headline. Your headline is about you, but it's also about who you are looking to target. It's a hook to get other LinkedIn members to read the rest of your profile. There's no right or wrong way to complete your headline, but just a few things that I would want you to remember. Your headline is an opportunity to show who you are, not just what you do. It might be helpful to ask yourself some of the questions here noted on the slide and really just clearly call out what your passions, interests, and expertise are in that headline aspect. So someone had mentioned keywords. That's definitely a focus when you're thinking through LinkedIn and your LinkedIn profile. So an insider tip is really to use meaningful keywords and searchable terms to grab the attention of a potential connection or an employer. So recruiters are searching for keywords to fill roles. So you could include your role or desired role, industry or desired industry. So for example, future CPA, current accounting major with a focus in auditing. That could be just an example of a nice headline there. But as a recap, your headline showcases who you are, how you could potentially help your next employer. So use those keywords, be concise, and ultimately just promote yourself. Another aspect of having a built-out LinkedIn profile is the summary section. There's some best practices noted here on the slide that I think are super helpful with the formula. About 1 to 2 sentences about who you are, 3 to 5 sentences about your experience, top skills, key passions, and then 1 to 2 sentences about your future goals and where you want to go. So again, that about section gives more detail to your story and to your headline. And this is where you will share who you are, what you've accomplished, what you want to contribute to an organization or company, why what you do matters, and maybe what brings you joy. Another insider tip on this aspect is make sure your about section is at least 40 words so that this information will show up in the search results for other members and recruiters. So again, hint, include keywords and searchable terms that speak to your industry or your desired industry to really boost your discoverability. This highlights some of the other aspects of your profile. And I think that LinkedIn Learning course that I mentioned earlier will go into depth if you're really looking to build out each section. But these are just some additional areas that you can access through the Add Profile section button on your profile there. And there's just many ways to share your unique story. Many options, so don't feel pressured to add everything. Just add your most meaningful experiences and skills that you can speak to if somebody reaches out to you about it, or if you want to speak about it, perhaps in a job interview or something to that extent. So you can add work, internship experience, projects you've worked on, courses you've taken, languages you speak, any organizations that you're a part of, leadership positions, honors, awards, etc. There's a lot that you can add onto your profile. So if you have the time, definitely recommend checking out those additional sections and seeing what you're comfortable adding onto your profile. This is something we get a lot. What is the difference between a profile and a resume? While your LinkedIn profile will still have elements of your resume, there are some big differences with your LinkedIn profile and your resume. So for example, you might tailor your resume to speak to specific employers. Your LinkedIn profile tells more of an overall story about you to potential employers. Your profile gives you the opportunity to go into more detail with the skills you've obtained, projects that you've worked on, your interests, certifications, adding digital media to the various positions that you've had experience in, etc. So it's really a unique story that you can tell on your LinkedIn profile, whereas your resume might be a bit more targeted. So just kind of think of it in that regard, that you have more space to show your unique story on LinkedIn. So really your LinkedIn profile is the foundation that allows other professionals and employers to interact with you, learn from you, and contact you. And then lastly, as well, your LinkedIn profile contains recommendations and endorsements that if you'd like to request or give to somebody else. So you can really just have that interactive aspect to your network on your profile. So the goal is really just to get noticed with your LinkedIn profile by setting up your LinkedIn profile and your resume and checking out those jobs. But I want to highlight a great LinkedIn profile example from one of HU's very own students, Michelle. I'm not sure if she's graduated or if she still at the institution.
Yep. Yeah, she wasn't able to make it today. She was at our career fair yesterday, but yes, still a great student at HU.
Awesome. So we'll highlight Michelle's profile. She was kind enough to volunteer and let us kind of do a quick audit. She had a great profile to begin with and just some areas for enhancement that we wanted to focus on. So again, she volunteered. She is a student at HU who I believe ran some social media pages for the admissions team and even owns her own business. And she's part of the management, entrepreneurship, and business administration program. And there's some great things to learn from her profile. It's going to populate here. Let's see. Okay, so go one by one here, but you can really just check out her profile in depth for some more ideas, but she had done a great job of telling her story and how she will be definitely bringing value to her next employer. So she had a great background and profile picture, thoughtful headline. She had some featured sample work in some of her portfolio linked to her profile. So not only building out her experiences, but having some examples, which was a great aspect. She had some strong activity of engaging with some people within her industry. And she had relevant skills added for each experience, which we'll dive into more in the importance of that. Licenses, certifications, etc., honors and awards. So this just highlights some of the great core aspects Michelle had. And you'll see here some of the digital media pieces that she had associated, just showing her portfolio of her work, which is a great thing to do. These were some areas for enhancement that we'd collaborated on with her profile. And really, we were just thinking through what are some main areas that you could further enhance and add to, just to tell even more of your story. So having a strong amount of connections is quite important as you're looking for jobs and entering the workforce. We'll talk through some tips and tricks there. Having a really strong about section, continuing to add to your licenses and certifications, whether it's from a LinkedIn Learning course or something that you perhaps have obtained from your degree. That is a great aspect to build out. Any volunteer experience. Perhaps getting a recommendation from either a boss that you are working with at HU or an internship, etc. That is a great way to kind of add some more credibility to your profile. And then considering posting your own original content. I know that that's definitely something we always get questions on. We actually have a course on it and I have it linked out and I'll share it again, but there's some great ideas of how to just get started as a student, building your own content, sharing out posts on LinkedIn, but really just think through like what is top of mind in your industry, maybe a work experience that you have some thoughts on that you could share. Those are just some easy ways to get started there. And then finally, we said leveraging the LinkedIn Learning role guides, which we'll dive into here, but this is just another great way to kind of check back if you have the right skills and certifications, things that are in demand for a certain position that you're striving towards. So we'll walk through how we did that process with Michelle. Again, this is just showing some areas. Another aspect is to align the skills that you are looking for in your next job to your profile. So really understanding that there's an emphasis on skills when recruiters are searching for you. And again, we'll kind of walk through that here just in a minute. But that is something that we looked through with Michelle's profile is, can you audit perhaps a job that you are looking to obtain after graduation? For Michelle, it was a social media marketing job that she was interested in. So we talked through kind of leveraging the role guide within LinkedIn Learning to map backwards to her skills and just make sure that the order of the skills on her profile was corresponding to the job she was ultimately looking for. So that's a great way to kind of cross-reference what skills you should be prioritizing. Again, here, we'll dive into how employers think and leverage LinkedIn to find candidates like you. So recruiters have a lot going on. They have a lot of information they have to sift through. There's a lot of data on LinkedIn, and they ultimately just have one job description that they're searching for. So sifting through 1 billion members, millions of companies, lots of schools, lots of skills, etc. So we can actually peel back the curtain here and take a look at the software that they use to help them search for qualified candidates like you. The software that they leverage on LinkedIn is called LinkedIn Recruiter, and you actually can take a course if you're interested. You definitely don't have to. If you're kind of wanting to reverse engineer, how are people looking for me? How are employers searching on the platform? This would be a great way to learn more. But really the takeaway is that they are focusing on the skills and assessments portion of your profile when they're thinking through that job description they're sourcing candidates for. And this just highlights what that looks like on the back end for a recruiter who is leveraging this software on LinkedIn.com to search for candidates. So really the main takeaway here, what we want to highlight to you is adding skills to your profile to showcase what you're great at. Adding at least 5 or more skills to each experience on your profile can help you get to, I think it's 17 times more profile views based on those relevant experiences. So recruiters commonly search for those key skills and terms for the given position. So it's just a really great way to boost your discoverability and be found by your network. And when you actually put LinkedIn Learning certificates of completion on your profile, that can help you as well remember those skills that you are building as they pull from LinkedIn Learning to your LinkedIn profile. We'll definitely talk through that as well. But just remember, you are in full control of the skills that you have on your profile. So you choose the order in which they're displayed, maybe who endorses them for you, etc. So I would recommend putting them in order of importance for the job or career that you're trying to target. And this is even further showing you when you are applying for a job and when recruiters are sourcing for jobs, a job posting has the skills tied to it, and they basically can see a match percentage based on the LinkedIn profiles that apply for that position. So you really can put your best foot forward by matching the key skills that you know you have in the job posting based on your experiences. And this just exemplifies how you can move up the list upon having a updated LinkedIn profile with all of the relevant skills that you have based on your experiences. So really there's a strong importance of ensuring your LinkedIn profile is up to date to ensure you are discoverable by these recruiters and employers who are leveraging the platform for jobs. Again, this is just highlighting by having an up-to-date LinkedIn profile, you're better aligned to those potential jobs. You can discover career paths in your field of work, help recruiters find you, and just showcase your commitment to continuous learning and development in an ever-changing world of work, where this is very important to be learning new skills and constantly upskilling yourself. This is a great thing to remind yourself of in the accuracy of your profile. We'll walk through some tips on showing your experiences and how and what you know just to help optimize your profile and that discoverability. So this is all in addition to those core aspects of the LinkedIn profile, having a great photo, headline, summary, etc. But this is really the key to opportunity is having an accurate experience and skills portfolio on your LinkedIn profile. So definitely need to take some time to summarize your experiences. This can be internships, clubs, volunteering, committees, etc., and add skills to each section for those relevant experiences. And again, we recommend about 5 for each experience, but you can leverage other similar positions to help jog your memory in terms of the skills that are associated with some of the jobs you've had. So kind of get comfortable searching and using LinkedIn to help you uncover maybe some similarities in your experiences and things that you can add to your profile from others on the platform. So this is really illustrating the value of getting comfortable using LinkedIn to, understand what positions are out there, what people have in terms of jobs that could be of interest to you, and as well as just organically building out your network on the platform. So as I mentioned, like a good idea could be to ensure you're reporting back the right skills by getting comfortable with those in your industry or people that you are, looking to potentially emulate in terms of their career path, or they have a job that's of interest to you. This is a great way to just get more comfortable with your network, and grow it, of course, as well as align those skills. So research shows that your weak connections, those usually in your second or third degree networks, are often more valuable for your job search than your strong existing connections because their networks are more diverse than your own. So each time you connect with someone new, their extended network becomes accessible to you. And this is again illustrating the idea of studying and learning from different LinkedIn profiles. So this is what I did a lot when I was a student, was going through people, different profiles, kind of understanding what people had built out just to get ideas. And it can help you jog your memory in terms of maybe, oh, I did this internship, a similar experience to this individual. They had these core skills listed on their profile. That's another great way, just so you don't have to come up with it from scratch. Just get comfortable searching on the platform and looking at new connections. But if you don't have a skill, we'll definitely talk about that later and kind of how you can leverage LinkedIn Learning, of course, to further explore that. But this is, again, just building out that profile. Get curious, learn, and connect from others by expanding your brand and your connections. You can discover existing connections here. To continue off of that, searching for new connections. Be sure to expand your network to help learn and grow from others in your potential work industry or specialty of your field of interest. It can be helpful to connect with others, review their profiles, and understand how they maybe got promoted or landed that first role out of HU. So from the search results, you can click to review other members' profiles, learn more about their journeys, skills, and reach out with a connection request. And we definitely always recommend leveraging a customized message explaining why you're wanting to connect. And I have an example here if you're not exactly sure what to say. But definitely recommend asking for those informational interviews when you're career exploring or looking to intentionally network. Again, this is really that value of building out your network so you can get access to a more diverse set of connections. This is just an example message I had put together, but there are some courses on LinkedIn Learning. If networking is something that you really aren't comfortable with, there's some great tips and tricks and courses that you could take and take away tangible next steps so you can immediately implement onto the platform if you're looking to build out your network. But always recommend having that customized message. So it not only, improves the chance of that individual accepting your connection request. They understand why you're reaching out, whether it's an informational interview, again, just wanting to learn more about their field of study, or you're somewhat connected with them already from maybe an alumni network, etc. It's always helpful to include that message request. As I just mentioned, as you also may know too, another great area to tap into when exploring for jobs and developing new skills is learning from other alumni. So definitely consider checking out your institution's alumni page. You can see everybody who has graduated from Harrisburg University of Science and Technology. This is a great way to get some additional contacts as well. Other ways that you can continue to just get your profile optimized so you're learning from others. You can connect and follow inspiration. Your favorite influencers are likely on LinkedIn, athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, scientists, etc. So just have that surrounded in your feed, and it can continue to help you evolve your profile and just think through your next step in your career. I won't spend too long on this, but really wanted to highlight, of course, as you are building out your profile, maybe looking for ideas, learning from other individuals. In general, just add value and engagement with your network where you feel comfortable. Whether you're just starting to or you're continuing to build your network, thinking about it in a way that allows this network to serve you. I recommend approaching it in a way with a mindset of that you can add value to your network as well. So you can contribute by liking and sharing posts to your network, or share something that you've learned. Just really share some of those topics or perspectives that you're thinking about. You could even join groups, participate in some of those conversations on LinkedIn, give those recommendations to a member in your network, things of that nature. But really, above all else, invest in your connections. Ask to learn from them. Most people are willing to share their experience and are happy to help those who are exploring their next step in their career. But having that mindset of, sharing it back with give and a take sort of thing, that's really important when you think through serving your network and nurturing it as you emerge into the next step of your career. Again, leveraging top skills from job posts, consider doing that as well when you're building out your LinkedIn profile. We'll show you how to supplement with LinkedIn Learning shortly as well if you don't have a skill that you are looking for within a job. And this was the role guides feature that I had mentioned a bit earlier that we worked with Michelle on. So this is a resource and a feature within LinkedIn Learning that can be helpful as you think through building out your LinkedIn profile. They're kind of a two-step process here. So it's a great newer feature. And essentially, a role guide enables you to navigate career paths with role-based content and skills customized to what's in demand for today's workforce. So this combines LinkedIn's data and insights, quality content, and the talent expertise to really just equip you with understanding what sorts of roles are in demand and what are the skills, certifications, communities associated with these sorts of positions. So currently you can access role guides, and I have another slide here that shows you where to access them. But there's about 39 available on the platform right now. They don't highlight every single role in the field in today's workforce, but there are a lot of common ones that could be helpful just to look back and say, do I have this skill? Oh, I want to take an additional course or certification on this as well. So this is where you would find that is under the content tab on your LinkedIn Learning homepage. And it's broken out by the business, technology, and creative categories. There are some role guides for each respective bucket there. And I definitely recommend checking them out just to understand your skill gaps. And this illustrates that process there. So when you click on a role guide, say for a project manager, it will associate what are the most in-demand skills for project managers today. And you can kind of fill in your skill gaps based on that. Okay, I don't have XYZ skill. I want to focus on that this semester, etc. And this is just illustrating the various role guides that we have available on the platform. But again, you can access this within your homepage through the content tab on LinkedIn Learning. Some great overview: project manager, accountant, marketing manager, software engineer, data analyst, web developer, social media manager. There's a wide variety here. So definitely recommend checking this out as you build out your profile and look to supplement your skill set. And these are just some best practices of how to update your profile. Awesome. Now the fun part of LinkedIn Learning, this is really where you can supplement your skill set with LinkedIn Learning. So now we know what's a good LinkedIn profile, what that looks like, how employers use the platform to search for candidates like you, some tips and tricks for ensuring your professional brand is in good shape. You can bolster your skill sets and hone in on those skill gaps with LinkedIn Learning, as we alluded to before. So again, if you're not necessarily sure if you have a skill or you're really looking to hone in on a particular skill upon, seeking and kind of embarking on that job market, definitely recommend taking some time to think through where you might need some additional learning or help to further develop a particular area or skill. Maybe you uncovered this in an informational interview or by talking to an alumni, talking to a professor, or just looking through some of those role guides. This is a great way to double down on those skill gaps, and you can easily identify some courses based on your skill level that you'd like to learn more about. And the benefit of this is this automatically, if you connect your LinkedIn profile to your LinkedIn Learning license, this will automatically track back if you want to your LinkedIn profile. Again, building out that skills section. That is the value here, is it will automatically add that onto your digital portfolio. Again, here, just the benefits of showing what you've learned on LinkedIn Learning, having that accurate, up-to-date skills inventory, building that personal and professional brand, and just understanding where you're at in terms of continuous learning. You've learned XYZ skill. Feel free to add that to your profile. Definitely a benefit there. There are flexible learning formats on LinkedIn Learning. Something that I hear a lot, and I feel the same way. I don't always have time for a very long course. I would love to sit here and do that, but we're all very busy. You might be commuting, you might be working full time in addition, doing things on the weekend, etc. So you could consider some of our audio courses to learn on the go, similar to a podcast format. These are for some of these, obviously not as technical topics, just so you don't necessarily have to be hands-on with the mobile app or the computer, et cetera. But that's a great way to plug in learning. Or we have over 450 bite-sized nano tips that can just help you in a pinch. If you're looking for advice on a particular skill in the moment, that's a great way to get what you need. Something else to call out is if you've identified a skill that you'd like to further develop, but you're not necessarily sure what level you're at in terms of proficiency, we do have something called skill evaluations on LinkedIn Learning, where you can just take a self-guided evaluation to gauge how confident you are on some of these various topics. And then from there, you'll receive personalized recommendations based on your proficiency level. So one that I like this for is Excel. I never know how I rank in terms of Excel. There's a nice mix in terms of soft and hard skills, but this is a great way just to kind of get a better understanding of where you're at. I know someone in the chat, it sounds like earlier, was really curious about some of these more technical focuses around coding, programming, etc. There are plenty of opportunities to get hands-on with your learning within LinkedIn Learning and really apply and comprehend the courses. There are quizzes and exams throughout LinkedIn Learning courses. Those are more just for your own comprehension of, okay, do I understand this topic as XYZ? You're not necessarily gonna, it's not for a grade per se, it's just for you to kind of understand where you're at. But there are additional opportunities to get hands-on with those technical skills. We offer code challenges, courses that are powered by CoderPad, and courses integrated with GitHub code spaces so that new and experienced developers can learn today's top programming languages through expert-led instruction combined with real-time practice in the coding environment. So this is all within LinkedIn Learning for free. You can take these courses and have an interactive experience of getting your answers checked as you go. So definitely recommend checking that out if coding or programming is something of interest to you. And again, additional opportunities are some exercise files. These are your, the course instructor might call this out as part of the course, but there are just additional ways that you can check out and do some interactive quizzes or reflections just to ensure you are understanding and practicing those new skills. There are about 10,000 on the platform for these exercise files, which can be located within the course that you are viewing. I know we're coming up on time here, so I'll wrap it up quickly, but we have some professional certificates on the platform. Again, these are just additional capabilities and options for you to strengthen, validate, and showcase the skills that you're building within LinkedIn Learning. We offer, I think, over 175 different credentials. So definitely avail of this. These are built in partnership with external organizations such as Microsoft, GitHub, Zendesk, ServiceNow. We have some certification preparation for CompTIA. We have practice exams for various different topics. So definitely dive into that if you're curious to learn more. Some additional features here on LinkedIn Learning. I'm going to breeze past these. I want to make sure we have time for Q&A. These are just some additional features that can help you to drive more personalized content recommendations based on your career goal. This will be shared with you, so if you want to explore more, feel free. Again, when you're checking out those role guides, you actually can set it to be your career goal within LinkedIn Learning. The benefit of this is you will just get some personalized content recommendations based on your goals. Understanding where those skill gaps are from the role guides, great way to understand that, where you rank up. And as well as the LinkedIn Learning AI powered coaching. This is a great way to have an interactive way to either search for courses on LinkedIn Learning. You can leverage it to say, I'm looking for a course on communication or resume building, etc. Or if you just have a quick question about how can I optimize my resume, say for a program management job, just like quick recommendations, that is a great way to leverage this AI-powered coaching. So I would definitely recommend checking that out if you are looking for a way to kind of distill down all of the 23,000 courses on LinkedIn. This is available on your homepage. Awesome. And this is just a sample prompt of how you can leverage this tool. And again, leveraging this for some specific courses. And as well as using it to evaluate the courses that you are potentially looking to take and see if they're a good fit for you. These are some capabilities of the AI-powered coaching that is available on your homepage and as well as on some courses as well. Awesome. I know we're coming up on time. I want to make sure we have any time for questions.
Here we go. So we have one first question. Is there a limit on how many skills that we need to include when applying for jobs, internships, and connecting with others? Currently, they have 21 skills, or 27 skills. 21 they feel that they're really good at, and 6 of them they're trying to get better at. So just curious on that.
The total amount of skills for a profile or for an experience, or how to rank it? Rather.
I think just in total, if I'm understanding correctly, feel free to speak up if you want to, or if you want to jump in the chat.
It's a good question.
In total.
In total, I'd say using that five skill per experience rule of thumb is a great way to just make sure you have a robust enough profile. In terms of a sweet spot, I'm not sure if there is one for jobs. I would just say rank them in terms of your confidence of what you're really skilled at, and as well as kind of the relevance to that job. So that might be a good way to kind of rank those skills. I'm happy to look into that because I'm actually not sure.
Perfect. And then a couple students are excited to revisit the recording to get anything that they might have missed, so we'll be sharing that. But one of the students was curious about the podcast. So there's podcasts within LinkedIn Learning, correct?
Yep. So you can download LinkedIn Learning's mobile app, and if you want to go hands-free, if you will, say you're commuting somewhere or you're going for a walk, you can use an audio-only version of a course. I would say that this is probably the most relevant when, again, you're not necessarily doing, say, a technical hands-on course where you kind of need to be in front or using those practice features, but there are plenty of options where you can go audio only. Absolutely.
Chad, I'm not sure if I'm fully understanding your question. Are these LinkedIn videos? Oh, looks like you just updated. Videos need to be updated to the current version or should be on one since some courses that I've taken earlier did using outdated version. Do you mind specifying that a little bit more?
I did actually did go to some like outdated versions. Like there's like 2019 versions, and
Mm.
some of them like don't like aren't like exist anymore for the current version. I've been using it for like Microsoft application apps like
Okay.
PowerPoint, Excel, Word document. Yeah.
Good question. Glad you brought that up. So if there's a new version of the course, our system will automatically kind of retire or archive the older version. So if there's an old version, I try searching again and then filter for the newest version. You can filter that way when you're looking for specific courses. But if there's a new version for the same course, it will automatically archive that course if you're clicking on it from a direct link, or it will redirect you to the new updated course. But we add 60 new courses a week. We try to be on top of all of these softwares. But that is something that we're always working to improve. So thanks for bringing that up. But I would say there should be a new version and it will direct you to it if that course you're viewing has been archived.
Okay, thank you.
Very good
Absolutely.
question.
Very
Yeah,
good.
thank you for that, Chad. This question is, do you suggest career and life services from LinkedIn that is suggested? What do you mean by life services, Fred? Well, that is being
What I mean by life services is like life coaching. I've seen multiple career coaching, resume coaching, and life coaching on LinkedIn. I don't know if that's advised or is that just like something else entirely.
It's a good question. So, from our perspective, I think those are individual creators and members on the platform who might be offering those services. Um, LinkedIn will have some people from time to time that work for LinkedIn or we're doing something in partnership that may be bubbled up. I'm not aware of any currently, but I would just say, use your own judgment if that individual could potentially be of service to your network or doing informational interviews, et cetera. But right now, I don't think we have any that are LinkedIn specific from our end. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that.
I had a question. Can the AI in LinkedIn Learning help you create a header for your profile, or is it strictly for like the courses and things?
Good question. I should have called that out. So on LinkedIn.com, if you're building out your profile, we have added some more AI features to help you build out your profile.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar as I should be because I'm more of a LinkedIn Learning
Sure.
guru, I'd like to think, but I would definitely recommend checking those out. I think I've done it for my own summary. It took me a few times. I still definitely had to add my own personal touch to it, edit it myself, but that would be a great way just to get the ball rolling for people with the headline or summary section. Absolutely.
Perfect. Now we're at time, so if you need to jump off, go ahead for anyone. If anyone has a last minute question, hopefully we can maybe keep Jenny for just a
Yeah,
minute or
I'm
two.
good to
But
hang out.
we did have some good reflection here. Someone already retooled their skills to past experiences and some different things that they are excited to take away. So very great insight. Getting lots of claps.
Yay.
For anyone that's around in Harrisburg, if you want to come to Pints and Projects, it's for alumni and students. It's over across from the new building, so we'll be there from 5 to 7 if you want to stop by. There are mocktails and other food and beverage for purchase as well. Thank you all for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Alex.